welcome to the W Show. I'm Sarah Ollie and back as they are every week. Riley Beveridge, hello. Sarah Black, hi to you. And our special guest, fresh off his side's massive win over the Tigers, it's Cats coach Dan Lowther. Hello, Dan.
How are you? Thank you for having me again.
Great to have you on the W Show. We'll get into you and the Cats in just a minute, but Riles, off the top, State of Origin, it's back in the men's competition,
Yes.
Feb 14, Valentine's Day.
Lovely.
Is there an appetite in AFLW to see State of Origin return?
I think there is. I think there's an appetite for representative footy, and regardless of which way this looks at the moment. So there's a question mark still around whether or not it will be State of Origin or AFL or International Rules. We of course had State of Origin of sorts back in 2017 when Victoria beat the Allies in this game here. It wasn't much of a contest. Victoria won by 97 points on this night at Marvel Stadium. Some good names there. Daisy Pearce leading the Vics out. I think there's more appetite from clubs and players, though, at the moment, having spoken to a few this week, for international rules and an Australia against Ireland game. I think that's because of the Irish talent, the depth of Irish talent in AFLW at the moment. So what I can tell you is if the AFL was to go down the international rules path, I think it would be played with a Sharon and with Aussie rules laws of the game, as opposed to Gaelic footy, which is what we've seen a lot of the international rules games played in the men's competition. I think this would be played with a Sharon and with Aussie rules.
Would we get to Ireland?
I don't think so. I think it would be in Australia. I'd love
a
for
trip to
the
Ireland.
But I have to ask, with one of the best Irish talents in the game at your disposal, I mean, would they give the Australians a contest?
100%. We talk about this all the time, like the crossover between what they bring to our game and vice versa. Like, it's such an entertaining game to watch, but they're so good at it. Like in the way they play, like Kate King kicked a nice goal on the weekend, exactly like she kicked a Gaelic ball. So it'd be a great game to watch.
It'd be so fun to watch. And a team that is fun to watch always, Sarah, is North. The reigning premiers are undefeated, sitting pretty at 5-0. And they stayed up north at the weekend. Tell us about that.
North up north, they are sitting pretty, and they're sitting pretty in the sun. So, of course, North Melbourne comfortably accounted for Brisbane in the grand final rematch, and a very smart decision, I think, by some of the Roos players. They weren't due back at the club till Tuesday, played on Sunday, so they stayed an extra day up at the Gold Coast, just getting some sun. I don't think Kate Sheila's thrilled to be in the sun there. But Dan, this is just I think it's a really smart decision. Have a bit of a mid-season break.
Yeah, we do the same. Yeah, for sure. Like, you don't get much of a break between rounds, because particularly this time of year, they get shorter. So any chance to have some R&R relax together, it's a good thing.
It looks absolutely beautiful
I know,
up there
very
as
jealous.
well. Always sunny in lovely Queensland. But what about Geelong, Dan? I mean, it must be sunny to an extent at the moment because your team's firing back-to-back wins, but generally and holistically at the club and even in the town, it must be a buzz because the men, they're back in a prelim final yet again. What's it like, the atmosphere?
Oh, it's outstanding. Like, we did it a couple of years ago with our both programs, being involved this late in the men's season, but such a positive atmosphere around the club. Everyone's up and about. Big game against Hawthorn this week, and their history together speaks for itself. But just the way the lads and the girls are getting together during the week to bounce ideas off each other has been really positive to watch.
From one side of the coin, Riles and I are going to be covering that game, by the way, and
Yes,
we cannot wait.
It.
But from one side, from the happies to a bit more serious footy chat, Meg McDonald, she's been the topic of discussion for the last couple of weeks, your captain. What was behind that decision to leave her out of the side and to continue to not pick her? Yeah,
it's never an easy conversation to have to tell someone that they're not in the team, particularly a captain and a strong leader in Meg. So, we had conversations over the pre-season around form and what we need from a team and system, and at any given time, players are susceptible to be in and out of the team. So, for her at the moment, just finding a bit of form at training and whatnot is probably what we're after. But also gives our younger defenders a chance to hone their craft into their game and their experience too, which is important. And Meg's been super with that too. Like, the way she leads off the field is just like she does on the field too. So she's been a great mentor to these young ones as well.
And Lexi Gregor, of course, top 10 pick, does get her chance, and she's taken to it with aplomb.
Yeah, Lexi's she's pretty tough, as you can see on the vision there. Nice tackle last week, but very relaxed, very much a part of the back half group now. They're training really well together, so she's done really well to start with.
It was a topic we had on the W Show last week around the captaincy. We've seen a number of sides choose to change over their captaincy this year while the senior player is still around to provide some guidance and support. Are you comfortable that you stuck with Meg this year when you've got Nina Morrison and Amy McDonald in the wings?
Oh, 100%. Like, we could have stepped away from that and changed things up, but we want the playing group to have their voice in the team, and the players voted for her unanimously, which is important. So she stayed in the captaincy role, but knowing full well that form is the integrity piece around how we pick the team. And as I said before, she's an exceptional leader, and she still leads the squad in many ways. But it's important that we gave Meg a chance to be the best version of her, and the captain part of it is a part of her identity. So she'll keep being our captain this year.
You've steadied the ship over the last couple of weeks. You were 0-3 to start the year, but 2 really big wins in your last 2 games. I mean, how much confidence has that given you to attack the back half of the season and still potentially compete for finals?
Yeah, it's been really good. Like the last 2 weeks, building some momentum against Essendon and last week Richmond. It's important to get those wins. A bit of a tricky start at the start of the year, clearly, but to show that we can improve. We're stopping sides now in our back half. We're scoring really well with our attack as well. So and our midfield's humming. So. That momentum that we've built the last 2 rounds going into Port Adelaide this week is a really important thing to keep driving. But the winning part, there's nothing better. So we're glad we've got a couple of wins on the board now.
The midfield certainly is humming, and the centrepiece to that midfield is Georgie Prasparkas. Loving seeing her back to her best, because she probably is maybe leading the league best and fairest, Dan. I mean, what's changed from last year? There were some injury concerns, and did you have to remind her of the star that she is?
Well, she's such a competitor, and she doesn't leave any stone unturned. So there's never an off season for George. So she's always primed to do her best. But through with her start this year, clearly. She did have a bit of a quad issue last year, but she's fought through that really well, and you can see the way she's running now and hunting the footy and driving the ball inside our front half. It's great to watch. But having to sit down with her to remind her that you don't need to be chasing every facet of the game. You just need to focus on these 3 or 4 things that make you the best version of you. So we had a bit of a chat, with some vision to remind her on that, and I think she's taken that the right way.
Do you think she is one of the best players in the league? I mean, it must be such a privilege to coach her, but how do you view her?
Oh, it is. It's a privilege. Again, she's so driven. But yes, her influence on games, inside contest, outside contest, now she's scoring, which is another string to her bow. So she can still get better, which is the scary part.
Power this weekend at Alberton. It's such a good vibe over there. Can't wait to see this game unfold. But what sort of challenge does Port Adelaide pose? They had a similar start to the season to you guys.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I mean, pretty similar boat. Like, it's a nice big ground. As you said, a bit of a hostile crowd there with their supporter group, which we relish. But they're a young, energetic, contested team. Very similar to us in most respects. So. They had a great year last year, prelim final, well deserved. A bit of a rocky start this year, so I'm sure that they'll be looking to get stuck into us this week. Potential debuts as well to add to their firepower. So a really challenging team on a lot of fronts. Obviously, their midfield's really strong with Schultz and the way she can play the game. But another great challenge for us. So it'll be a very interesting next couple of days.
Dan's just mentioned potential debuts. I mean, come into the host chair, please. What a nice segue. Lauren Young said, this is a name we've been hearing. We're craving to see her out there. Is this the week? I
was joking in the office earlier this week that Lauren Young is my Nick Dacos to Cal Toomey, essentially. I've been writing this so hard. Lauren, 99.9% going to play this week. They've got a big training session tonight, so she does need to get through unscathed, coming off a concussion that she picked up at training last week. So she was so close to that comeback from an ACL, but unfortunately tackled a little too exuberantly at training, relished the full contact and picked up concussions, so she's 99.9%.
Lock her in, Eddie, I say.
I reckon lock her in. Lock her in. But, giving myself an out just in case.
Fair enough. Now on Saturday, Collingwood hosts Hawthorn at Vic Park. And Riles, this is a contest we're really looking forward to, potentially not at the start of the season when the fixture came out, but are Collingwood the most improved side in the league in 2025?
Yeah, they've been fantastic, and it's interesting actually speaking to a couple of people at North Melbourne this week. Of course, Sam Wright came from the Kangas and brought a couple of key people with him into that football department. North Melbourne players and coaches reckon that the Collingwood was arguably the best side they've played so far this year in terms of the way they set up, the most difficult challenge they've posed, and they've played some pretty good teams. Your Cats among them, Dan. And so I think that just goes to show just how improved their system has been over the first few weeks of this season. Of course, finished bottom of the ladder last year. They brought some young talent in. There was one of the best of them in Ash Centra there, who was the rising star last week. But they're improving at a rapid rate of knots. And the win over Sydney last week was just reward for that improvement, I think.
And Sarah, if you get on down to Vic Park, there is 2 tickets on the line. to a prelim.
There is the sold-out prelim at the MCG, Collingwood taking on the Lions. If you get down to Vic Park and watch the Pies take on the Hawks, they're giving away a double pass to that sold-out prelim at halftime. So get along if you want a ticket.
Nice. Now, Dan, as you get up for the deep dive with Gemma, let's take a look at this weekend's fixture. It does begin at Vic Park on Saturday, but there's plenty of other clashes to look forward to. As you can see, Dan's Cats and the Power, they'll do battle at Alberton Oval in Adelaide, I should say. And on Sunday, another 5 big matches, including Daisy's return to Casey Fields, the D's and the Eagles. Plenty to look forward to there, including a huge battle at Arden Street. It's first up against third. It's the Kangaroos and Carlton, and that is the subject of this week's deep dive. Gemma, can any team beat the reigning premiers?
Everyone seems to think that North Melbourne is completely untouchable, but with Dan Lowther here, who's come closer than most coaches in the last couple of years to the Roos, we're going to break down a couple of areas that you can actually take advantage of them. Their spread is one thing, and you know that I've got a prop.
You have. Bring it out.
To show just how good they are. In tight, they pressure you, but then their ability to spread back out as a full unit, their ability to own the ground is second to none, isn't it?
Yeah, I think most teams try and get the ball from inside to out, so they're really dynamic as a group doing it, and the depth they got through the midfield exposes teams in this format, yeah.
So this is why you have to be accountable to their midfielders, right? So this is an example against Port Adelaide earlier on this year. Can you talk us through what maybe the Port Adelaide players are getting wrong in this scenario?
Yeah, so here there's space at the CB for Garner to use and go through. So we talk about playing the whole phase out. So we're talking about staying on body for as long as you can. So you can see here Garner gets a bit of space off her opponent. The ball's in live play, and about now you need to make sure you see the whole phase through and defend her until the ball's being won again. So she's dynamic at getting front and square in those positions and scoring, so you're on body for as long as you possibly can.
Because then she's out going forward and can dob goals from anywhere, really. This is another example. Ash Riddell actually comes into this play and helps defend her, but what are you telling your midfielders in this sort of scenario?
Well, you need to fight through here. So the two mids here looking to block and check and get some space. We would say to our players to force these guys to skinny side out and not give up the goal side. And as it plays out through here, you can see that they hand over, giving Garner a nice wrap to her right foot into a dangerous area, which is, it speaks for itself, the way she can finish in front of goal. Yeah,
first goal of the game too, not the way you want to give it up. Fremantle, I know they went down by 100 points, but this is an example of how you can actually play their midfield.
Bit of a different approach here. So Riddell goes high-sided contest here. East decides to go goal side to defend where the dangerous space might be. As it plays out here, you can see you can always shark a ball off the ruck hit out, but you can also then press Riddell as you get some space. So it's a pretty good win from Freo here.
Yeah, so Ash Riddell has generally become more of an outside player in the last couple of years as the handball receive player. So she wants to find that space at stoppage, so that's where you can slip in front of her.
Yeah.
The other one is jumping the wall. We talked about this on the show a little bit last year, is how do you actually generate opportunities to score? And generally, given the strength of North Melbourne's defence, you need to get out the back. So we've got a couple of examples of your players, Dan, being able to do this. It starts with Julia Crocker-Grills.
Yeah, so Jules is a high transition runner. She get the ball from D mid to centre wing here. So what we want to see to the right of the screen here. So when Bowie looks up, she's got players kick the ball too, engaging the opposition defence. So you can see here 1v1s, even forward the ball, we've got 1v1s. A change of direction here from Jackie Parry. You can now go forward to 1v1 contests. And Julia Crocker-Grills, who started in D mid, is now transitioned down here to get a front and square work off Jackie Parry and a shot on goal. So it's about engaging as the game goes forward, making sure the defenders are defending for longer.
And it might not have been the perfect kick back inside, but because there were equal numbers there, you could capitalise. And This is a similar example.
Correct. So you can see as it goes through here, 1v1's ahead. Kangaroos getting forward to defend. Now a bit of patience and tempo there before it goes into the next decision. So you can't just go fast forward. A bit different to this one here.
Yeah.
All right. So North get up really high with their defence. Strong hard ball get from Brisbane, but now you've got to challenge forward to make sure their defenders are defending. Dax gets forward. Decision to go fast and long to a 1v1 is a really dangerous spot for any team, but against North Melbourne, it's a great result.
And out to where Dax was running, not on top of her head.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's a few ways that Carlton might be able to do it this weekend. It's just about being able to do it for long enough. Let's see.
Let's see, it's sometimes easier said than done. Riles, this is a North Melbourne side that is just blessed with so much talent to such an extent that a premiership brew is on the sidelines and finding it difficult to crack into the team.
We spoke about this last week with Emma King, so a two-time All-Australian ruck, not in the side at the moment. A hamstring injury derailed her chances of playing a lot of footy in the first month of the campaign, but quite simply now she's just not in their team at the moment. So Kim Rennie's taken that number 1 ruck spot. Kate Shearlaw's doing a really good job as a forward ruck. They're really comfortable with that mix, and she's got a bit of a battle on her hands to get back in the side. It's an interesting one as well because she had some pretty significant interest from Essendon late last year. It was very close, I'm told, to actually joining the Bombers in that trade period. She ultimately signed for another 2 years, but I think clubs, in particular clubs needing rucks, will be watching that situation closely over the next couple of weeks. Blaine Bogue's the player that's actually taken her spot in the forward line as well. This is an interesting one. It's gone under the radar a little bit. She's actually uncontracted this year. It was so much so that I think some rival clubs didn't actually know that she was uncontracted and potentially gettable. But the Kangas opened talks with her before the season started. I'm now told she's agreed to a 1-year extension, and that's all but signed. So the rich get richer there in North Melbourne, Dan. A lot's been said about how this unbeaten streak and how long it's gone for. Can they be beaten this year, do you think?
Oh, I hope so. Like, it's a problem we're all trying to solve. Yeah. Look, they're a great side across all parts of the ground, and one thing that we try to do when we play against them, and it seems to work okay, but not for long enough, is to make sure that their defenders are defending for longer. So they're really good at dropping off and getting spares behind the ball with their own defensive group and defending goal side. So, as the clip showed before, if you can challenge their defenders to stay forward and defend, it goes a long way in your chances to score. So teams that can do that, yeah, good opportunities.
And just on some selection news as well, we'd spoken before about Christy Lee Weston-Turner. Hasn't played in the first 5 weeks. She had some interruptions over the summer with long COVID and then a concussion. I'd be stunned if she didn't play this week against Brisbane. I'm told if it's not this week, it's guaranteed to be next week as well.
Former number 1 pick.
Closing in on a return. Yeah, former number 1.
Yeah, nice. All right, on Sunday at Casey Fields, we are looking forward to this mouthwatering contest between Melbourne and West Coast. Daisy Pearce is finding herself in enemy territory, Sarah, which is funny to say, isn't it? Because Casey Fields was her home for so long, now leading the Eagles, and there's some nice symmetry to this match in more ways than one.
Yes, so Daisy's making her first appearance at Casey Fields since she last played in Season 7, 2022. That game was also against the Eagles, coincidentally, and it was an absolute demolition. Now, in opposition colours, Daisy won't want to be repeating this one. Melbourne were pushing for top spot. It was a battle for percentage, and in the end, the Demons fell just 0.3% short, which affected home finals and everything that comes along with that. Daisy had a shot very late in the piece. Chose not to take the shot, and if she had scored, that would have got the D's over the line in the minor premierships. So it'll be good to watch this one. Of course, we had Eden Zanker on the couch last week, and she was watching some of the Eagles highlights and said, there's a touch of Michael Stanier about this Eagles side.
Have you scouted that, Dan? Is that something you've noticed?
A little bit. Like all the teams are changing so quickly with the new players coming through and new structures. So watching every game as much as we can to try and get little bits here and there is what we do. So yeah, it'd be a great game to watch.
And the battle within the war, at least one of them, is Kate Hoare and Ella Roberts, 2 superstars of the competition, not necessarily going head-to-head, but I'm pumped to see them both out there. They'd probably both be leading their teams best and fairest, and they'll figure when it comes to the league best and fairest as well. Dan, who are you taking there?
That's well, those two are exceptional players. Can I go on the fence for this one?
No.
Oh, I think with Kate, her ability to win, around the footy and get forward and score, it's a pretty powerful thing. Last week showed that too, so I might go Kate Hoare.
Yeah, she has a good record against the Cats too, doesn't
she?
she?
Does, yeah. Go there.
Riles at Moorabbin, we're going to see St Kilda take on Richmond this weekend, and the way the results fell last round, Richmond, they're the only team without a win on the board in 2025, and they've re-signed the coach as well.
Yeah, I think the timing of this one took a few people by surprise, given it happened when they were 0-4 going into that game against your Cats last week, Dan. So Ryan Ferguson was one of the few unsigned coaches going into the competition this year. He's now signed a 1-year extension, as we reported on AFL.com.au last week, which locks him in at the club until 2026. I think Mick Stanier might be the only one that's still unsigned at the moment, but that's not unusual for him. I think he's been unsigned for the last couple of seasons, and some optimism there at the D's that he will re-sign as well. But Dan, you were 0-3. We spoke about that earlier today. The Tigers are now 0-5. I mean, how much when you get a couple of wins, a couple of losses on the board, do you just crave that win? And can it be detrimental when you're so desperate for something to finally turn the tide?
Yeah, it can be. Like, you're looking for the right answers, under every stone. So I think the fact that they signed him now to show some trust in what they're doing is a positive thing. But you can't escape the fact that, what can we do to get a win? And you just go to all your resources to get it right. So I'm sure he's doing all those things behind the scenes.
I think, Sarah, as well, I think with that, there's the reason for it was they've made finals in 2 of the last 3 years.
Yep.
They made top 4 in one of those years in 2022. So I think they still believe internally that he's the man to take them to their first premiership in AFLW. That confidence is there. And I think they wanted to solidify that confidence in giving him the 1-year extension. I think that's the reason behind it as well.
It is tricky as well because you don't play everyone with the fixture, Dan, right? So sometimes you're given a really hard fixture, particularly if you played finals the year previous. So do you have a bit of empathy, I guess, in this situation?
For sure. Like we've lived it, over the last couple of seasons as well, and Port, another one too, prime example. So I'm sure they'll find their mojo.
Speaking of finding their mojo, I don't think the Swans or the Giants will need too much motivation, Sarah, because the derby is happening again this weekend at Henson Park, and these two sides, I mean, they seriously don't like each other, do they?
No, the mojo will be off the charts, I think, if that's a thing. When the Sydney derby kicks off this weekend, no love lost between these two sides despite some overlap over the years in terms of players crossing clubs and the like. The umps better be on their game. I think, the girls better be sensible in not being overly zealous in their tackling and the like. Emotion can be a good thing, Dan. It can work against you. How do you go about harnessing this? Because the Giants are coming off their first win, they'll be pumped, and the Swans will be looking to bounce back.
Well, you want to capture last week's emotion, don't you? Like, that feel of winning and the way you played is probably the most important thing to focus on. So take the emotion part out of it around who you're playing and just get back to what worked well last week. So I think that's what the Giants should be focusing on this week.
And the Swans will be looking to bounce back, and after that loss to Collingwood, I'm sure they're not going to be lying down.
No, they should go back 2 weeks ago and look at their form and go into that game and take what they can from it. But it's an emotional game, but a great clash though.
Dan, thank you so much for joining us on the W Show. Best of luck against Port this weekend. Feeling confident?
Always confident. So it should be a good weekend hopefully. But thanks for having me.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Riley. And thanks for joining us. Remember to get your tickets for another bump around. We'll see you at the W.